And good morning, everybody, and welcome to Saturday. As chants of "Let's Go Brandon" go across the country, I just saw a picture out of a Hobby Lobby with those words on the end of an end cap in their stores. Interesting. You know, we're going to talk today about mask mandates, vaccine mandates, the idiot that's running this country, and now the supreme idiot that's our Attorney General. I don't know if you've watched any of Garland's drilling in Congress, but it gets you rather sick. Now, this is a health talk podcast. And when you look at all of the issues that are going on, you got to pay attention to what those idiots are doing because it's affecting each and every one of us. $475,000 proposed to give to every illegal alien family in this country. We have an idiot running this country, an idiot that has no common sense, that went over and saw the Pope yesterday and they had this show. And the idiot boy that's the Pope, who should have scolded him for his abortion ideas, just sort of smiled like the bonehead he is. It's Saturday morning and I'm fired up. And we're going to talk about helping you to protect yourself if you made the decision to not mask up, to not hold your kids back, to not vaccinate. It's your choice. It's your body. That's the way God created us. We'll get started here in 1 minute. The information you hear on the Nutrition Shop Health Talk with Dr. Len is strictly educational and is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease. Any healthcare decision should be discussed with your health professional. And now, here is Dr. Len. And this morning I heard on the news that 19 states so far out of the continental United States have filed major lawsuits against idiot boy Biden, or Brandon, to stop all of this nonsense that he's trying to jam down everybody's throat. It's rather disgusting that at this point, coming up on the month of November, going into the holiday season, that he is just putting such a downer on everything. Give us a choice. We can make that choice for us and our family. That's what it's all about. That's the way God created us. We're going to read to you today, in a few minutes, after we do the national anthem, about critical race theory, which is going to be our opening devotional for today, because I think we need us all to be praying that this idiot concept that Biden's trying to jam down our throats needs to be stopped. Right after the national anthem. Yes, in case Biden doesn't know, the land of the free and the home of the brave. From the desk of Franklin Graham, the House of Representatives recently passed critical race theory under a bill called the Equality Act, and it's now sitting in front of the Senate. The Equality Act designates schools, churches, healthcare organizations as quote-unquote public accommodations. With this, schools, churches, and hospitals could be forced to accept the government's beliefs and mandates about sexual orientation, gender identity. That would be highly intrusive, incredibly far-reaching. It would threaten everyday speech where people can be fined or lose their job for using the wrong name or the wrong pronoun. The Equality Act will legislate what we allow boys in girls' sports, boys in girls' locker room, and we saw the guilty verdict on this idiot that dressed as a girl and raped a girl, I believe in Maryland, and it was covered up by that state. And in Virginia, he did it again, and it was again covered up. The left does not want to even acknowledge how their rules and regulations are destroying this world. The Equality Act will use the force of law across all 50 states to strip Christian and other religious ministries of their right to hire people of shared faith to pursue a shared mission. Can you imagine a Christian organization being forced to hire people hostile to its deeply held beliefs, who have no passion for its beliefs, teachings, and mission? That just doesn't work, although the Pope thinks it does. The Equality Act will strip health professionals of their rights of conscience. It'll force doctors and medical professionals who long to do no harm to engage in gender transition treatment such as hormone blocking, cross-sex hormones, or surgery. It's obvious that a Catholic or faith-based hospital should not have to perform gender transition surgeries that go entirely against what they believe. The Equality Act will be a tool used by Biden to deny or threaten accreditation to religious colleges and universities if they don't satisfy the demands of the secular left, to apply secular orientation and gender identity to dorms, sports, places of privacy, even teaching. The act could be used as a weapon to threaten the availability of federal student loans and grants to students at certain disfavored religious schools. These are just a few examples. Friends, this is a pivotal time in this country. The impact of Biden and this legislation is immense. We must not remain silent and accept what we know is wrong. People of faith, you and I, need to pray. Churches need to recognize the significance of this and pray corporately, asking for God's intervention and mercy to extend with religious freedoms that we have blessed with so far. We must also get to work now. Fleeting days before this act will come up for admission into the state and into the country. As individuals, churches, and organizations, we need to let our representatives know how important this is to us and that we are asking them to vote an emphatic no on this act. I love it that I'm in the state of Florida. And God, I wish you were all here, because we have a governor here that's already said no to Biden. No, Biden, come on down. You want to come to this state? God help you. Now, let me just say this as I talk a little bit more about COVID this morning. I don't really think masks do anything. Now, in a hospital setting, etc., when you have really good types of masks, yeah. But what I'm seeing, as I was in the hospital setting this week, is people just using cloth and disposables that just don't do anything. The prime example that I've used over and over again is put your mask on, take a bottle of cologne and just spray it in the air. If you can smell it, it's gotten through your mask. And let me tell you this, COVID is smaller than the molecular weight of that perfume, and it will get through that mask as well. Social distancing, obviously. I think that's important for all aspects, you know. Keeping a distance, washing your hands, obviously the norm. Now, I've been asked for the last year and a half to almost 2 years about the vaccines. As a health professional, I still think it's your decision. It's your body. You should have every right to make the decision yay or nay. But I will say this, the longer that this vaccine's been around, I have yet to feel uncomfortable with it. The safety profile has been, I'll say this, tremendous. Now, for you anti-vaxxers out there, don't come down on me. All I'm telling you is, if you make the decision to do that, and I think a lot of you do need to do that, you don't have to worry about side effects. You know, we hear about these unique cases. And even when the FDA allowed the vaccine to be authorized for those down to age 5, I believe now, at 1/3 the dose. And of course, they had to bring up this thing about fluid buildup around the heart, endocarditis. But the rates of that type of problem, even in us adults, has been less than 0.1%. Now, if there's a child that's 5 or 6 that has a cardiovascular problem already been identified, he should not get that vaccine. But the safety profile's there. There's enough of them out there. You can say, well, it's not been proven, it's not been this. Well, a year and a half of injecting these into people, jabbing people with them, and the side effects are very, very, very rare. Contrary to what you hear, 50,000 people, that, give me a break. The real truth is, those that have succumbed to the vaccine had a predisposing problem and would have had that problem with even the common flu shot. Now, let's also not discount the fact that the common flu is already going around in this part of the country, in the eastern United States. A lot of people think, oh my God, I got COVID, because they're having sinus infections and things going around. It's going around, which is the reason I'm doing this show today. And I want to share with you 3 pieces of information to maybe make you feel a little bit more comfortable. Maybe a supplement that has a science behind it that you could actually take to protect yourself from any potential side effects from the vaccine. And could protect yourself if you decide not to get the vaccine, or to treat yourself if you do get a viral infection. We'll talk about that. I want to start out with an article from the American Chemical Society. Many efforts to develop vaccines and therapies to thwart SARS coronavirus focuses on the spike protein. That's the way this thing gets in your body. We've said this over and over again. It binds to what are called angiotensin converting enzyme 2, ACE2, receptor sites on human cells to allow it to enter your body. Now researchers have uncovered an active role of glycans. I want you to think about this and remember this word, glycans, sugar molecules that can decorate proteins, and in this process suggesting targets for vaccines and therapies. Before this spike protein can interact with ACE receptors in human cell, it changes shape to expose its receptor binding domain, the part of the protein that interacts with that receptor site. Like many viral proteins, the SARS coronavirus protein has a thick coat of glycans on its surface. This is sugar. You know, I've talked to you before about those that have had a horrible diet. Is there a diet link to catching COVID-19? Think about this. This virus coats itself in sugars. Where do you think it's going to get those? Why do you think diabetics are having such a problem with this? Why do we think that 80% of those that succumbed to SARS coronavirus were obese and more than likely had a horrible diet? Glycans. They're attached at specific sites which shield the viral proteins from our own immune system. In this study at the University of Texas at Austin, the researchers used structural and glycomic data to build molecular dynamic simulations of the SARS corona spike protein embedded in viral membrane. I'm not going to bore you with this, but the results laid the foundation for new strategies to fight the pandemic threat. What came out of this article? Limit sugars in the body. You have your coffee? Have a sip right now. Watch what you're consuming. If you're consuming simple sugars on a regular basis, you're putting yourself at risk. Not only to SARS coronavirus, but also the typical flu. These viruses like sugar, just like we've talked about cancer for years. Story number 2, researchers discover the hidden SARS coronavirus gate that opens to allow COVID infection. They found the gate. Since the early days of the COVID pandemic, scientists have aggressively pursued the secrets of the mechanism that allows severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus to enter and infect our human cells. University of California, San Diego, Dr. Romy Amaro did some research. Published last August in the Journal of Nature Chemistry, the study with co-author Lillian Chong from the University of Pittsburgh put together an idea. He says, we essentially figured out how the spike protein actually opens and infects. We've unlocked an important secret of the spike and how it infects cells. Without this gate, the virus basically is rendered incapable of infection. Think about that. If we had the ability to block this gate from opening on SARS coronavirus, nobody would get this infection. And remember what I just said. This glycan link, this sugar link, is a big, big, big player. Share this. Look at your diet. Journal your diet. Now, speaking of that, are you doing our Shake a Day Club? I am. Our Power Cleanse. I'm now telling everybody they need to do a shake a day. If you do nothing else, and you want to save some money, let me have a drink. I'm drinking the pineapple flavored. Power Cleanse now contains everything you need. There, I said it. From a multiple vitamin to your probiotic, to your vitamin D, to your B12, to your methyl groups, to your liver supportives. And guess what? It tastes good. So why don't you do this? If you've been battling weight issues, I challenge you to do this. I challenge you. Do 30 to 60 days of a shake a day. Have a shake of Power Cleanse for breakfast. That's all I want you to do. Watch your sugar intake. Shake a day. It's tough for me to use the word guarantee, but our success ratio with this concept of Power Cleanse has been dramatic. A, it tastes good. B, it's easy. You tired of swallowing all those pills every day? How about between now and the end of the year, going into Christmas and Thanksgiving, that you just do a shake a day of Power Cleanse, vanilla or pineapple? Tastes wonderful. I do it with almond milk. Get all your supplements in a drink every morning, and you'll find yourself being less hungry and less craving of sugars throughout the day. Dr. Amaro in the study believes the research team's gate discovery opens up potential avenues for new therapies to counter SARS coronavirus infection. If glycan gates, these are those sugar gates, could be pharmacologically locked in the closed position, then the virus effectively was prevented from opening, entry, and infection. The spike's coating of glycans helps deceive the human immune system since it comes across as nothing more than a sugary residue. Do I have to bring up more science about the link to a crappy diet, excuse my French, troubling your immune system? Journal it. Take a look at the excess sugars that you're consuming every day, and then you scratch your head and say, well, I'm getting sick. Sugar link, okay? Previous technologies have imaged these structures depicting glycans in static, open, or closed positions, which initially didn't draw much interest from scientists. Now they're saying that these things can open and close. We're actually able to watch the opening and closing, they said. Now they're using computational intensive simulations run at the San Diego Supercomputer Center. And their summary statement was, watch your sugar intake. Now, if we do the summary statement to say, if I'm consuming excess sugar, and the body has to deal with that excess sugar, which is producing more and more insulin, and the higher that insulin rate is on a continuum, the higher the inflammatory markers are in your body. Inflammation goes up. So let's look at it backwards. If we say, could we not lower inflammation body-wide, which is going to make us use less insulin, which is going to make us crave less sugars, and then I can make the human concept of just watching what I eat. Now, I'm going to talk to you again today. I've done this many times about specialized pro-resolving mediators. Look it up. Go to a journal called Frontiers in Immunology. This is where all of the research is published over and over and over again about methodologies to boost your immune system to fight off the flu. The recent outbreak of SARS coronavirus has emerged as the biggest pandemic in our lifetimes, which outrageous health, social, and economic consequences globally, which has spawned that evil entity Joe Biden, like somebody that crawled out from underneath a rock to throw a jab your way and force you to mask, and call you parent that stands up to the school board, call you a terrorist, and take our own Attorney General, who's a complete and utter idiot, to write letters to the FBI to investigate you. We have enough problems in this country, yet we're investigating you, dear parent. You should not have any say in what goes on with your child. Specialized pro-resolving mediators hold strong therapeutic potentials in the management of COVID-19 as they regulate macrophage infiltration, your own immune system, mobilizing to those open ports on the SARS coronavirus, and also lowers cytokine production. We know that when SARS enters your body and this whole cascade of inflammation occurs, the body goes into what's called a cytokine storm, which can attack the heart. And this is the same side effect that we saw, rare though it is, with the vaccine. So could you not, if you finally have fought the good fight and has said, well, I might as well just go get that vaccine now. Well, let's get you on the specialized pro-resolving mediators and make sure that we don't have any major side effects occur. There's a molecular link with SPMs, specialized pro-resolving mediators, that link the lipid mediators in this with the severity of any COVID-19 infection. Now, this article that I'm going to read is extremely long and extremely scientific. The clearance of dead cells and debris by phagocytes in your body in an inflamed area of the body following the removal of the pathogen, let's say when we fight the COVID fight. This is an essential part of the resolution of this out of your body. In fact, the uptake of these dead cells, or the extracellular vesicles secreted by dead cells, drive the reprogramming of your macrophages toward an anti-inflammatory state. What's that mean in English? That there is a risk factor, small that it is, with blood clots on the after effects of a COVID infection. Small as it is, of a blood clot issue with the vaccine. Given the high risk of thrombosis found in severe COVID-19 cases, this may represent an additional protective function of specialized pro-resolving mediators. Coronavirus pandemic has emerged as the biggest threat of our time. Outrageous health, social, economic, and financial consequences globally. Since the identification of a cytokine storm in severe COVID-19 and the central role of pathogenic alveolar macrophage populations, that's in your lungs, and we need to have the maintenance of hyperinflammation, characterized in the severe disease. Many current therapeutic research efforts have focused on anti-inflammatory approaches. However, treating individual cytokines may not be sufficient. SPMs have the advantage of stimulating the physiological homeostatic process toward the resolution of inflammation, acting directly on macrophages at various levels without inducing systemic immunosuppression. That's the science, folks. It's been published, and attached to this are a number of references. I'm just going to read to you a couple that I highlighted. Outbreak in China. Summary of a report of 72,314 cases from the Chinese Center for Disease Control and Prevention, published in JAMA using SPMs. All of these utilized SPMs. The control of macrophage activation and the functions. Journal of Circulation Research. Severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2 infection in children and adolescents. A systemic review. JAMA Pediatrics using specialized pro-resolving mediators. IP10 levels are highly associated with disease severity and predict the progression of COVID-19. The link to specialized pro-resolving mediators lowering plasma IP10. Cytokine storm in COVID-19, the current evidence and treatment strategies utilizing specialized pro-resolving mediators. Aspirin triggers an anti-inflammatory lipoxin effects, inhibits thromboxane in randomized human trials. Specialized pro-resolving mediators. I'm not going to go on. I made my point. There's a lot out there. You need to give us a call. You need to have that in your house. You need to have it as a fail-safe. Maybe take one a day, just as a preventative. Whether you've been vaccinated, whether you've had it already or not. You want to be part of rolling out and letting this virus just go away? Perhaps, and I say just perhaps, we could do that utilizing specialized pro-resolving mediators as well as our buffered C. Hey everybody, I want to talk to you for just a minute about our most popular product called buffered vitamin C. It has a myriad of biological functions. Vitamin C helps toward collagen formation for many body tissues, including skin, gums, teeth, cartilage around joints. It enhances the absorption of iron in the body and so involved in energy metabolism and contributes to reduction of tiredness and fatigue. Vitamin C is the required coenzyme for two groups of enzymes that catalyze the cross-linking of collagen fibers. Vitamin C is essential for normal wound healing, capillary health. Also participates in the biosynthesis of carnitine, serotonin, that key neurotransmitter, and certain other neurotransmitters, including norepinephrine. Vitamin C, our buffered forms, water-soluble, chain-breaking antioxidant that reacts directly with superoxide, hydroxy radicals, and singlet oxygen. Vitamin C interacts with glutathione and alpha-lipoic acid and regenerates vitamin E. Now, our prep also has bioflavonoids in there, called flavonoids, a class of phytochemicals that are potent antioxidants as well, which scavenge many potentially damaging free radicals. This well-designed product can allow a large dose of ingredients to be taken in a single serving. The organic food acid combines with the carbonate source to form potassium, sodium, calcium, and magnesium salts of the acid and buffers the solution to a normal pH, so it's easy on the stomach. Clinical studies performed on a variety of these types of products demonstrate that the ingredients, listen to this, penetrate the bloodstream within as little as 15 minutes. Buffered forms of vitamin C. I've said it over and over again. If I was stranded on a desert island and I couldn't take anything else with me, I'd have my buffered forms of vitamin C. You can find that on our website at thenutritionshop.net or call our office at 678-228-8900. That's 678-228-8900. Take care. Amen to that. Good information as always. And if you want to set up your own personal time, give us a call, 678-228-8900. I love it that people are sharing this show. I actually got a text message this morning from some fellow in Africa that picked up the show through Spreaker. We're out there in a lot of different ways. You can actually find us on Alexa. So check it out, share it. Fight the good fight, folks. We have an idiot running this country. And we got to fight underneath that and stay focused on our health. God bless you. Have a great, healthy weekend. And we'll see you back here on Monday. Take care.